instead of having somebody on staff with them, internally, they just have a partner like Grit that works with them, as well as, we have a full help desk and team of people where we provide on-site and also remote support as well. So that's, in essence, everything IT that you need for your business. It's all wrapped up into one clean package, and they work directly with us.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Hey everybody, welcome back for another episode of Business Ninjas. I'm here today with Matt Moline. He's the Sales and Marketing Manager at Grit Technologies. Matt, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. Glad to be here.
Yeah, excited to have you. So Matt, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Like you just said, I'm the Sales and Marketing Manager for Grit. A little bit about myself. I'm obviously, when I'm not at Grit, I'm actually a pretty avid, outdoorsman. I'm outside, out on the trails, hunting, fishing. I'm also I've got a 14-year-old son, married to my wife for the last, where are we at? We're celebrating 11 years actually this year. So,
Wonderful.
Yeah. So anytime I'm not on the computer or, helping people out on the tech side, you can find me outside and just enjoying the awesome, views. And I happen to live in an area of Michigan where we've got some amazing different waterways. I'm right on the St. Clair River. And you'll find me on my boat fishing, doing that type of stuff, just to relax and have a good time. So
that's lovely. A little bit about you. That's great. Love the background. Appreciate that. So tell me a little bit more about kind of how you got to Grit and about Grit.
So my involvement with Grit started actually with kind of a campfire backyard barbecue with the owner of Grit. And we had an ongoing conversation, probably, I think it was probably almost a year and a half, about me coming on board actually as an account manager. And he was still growing the business at the time. Originally, it was called Bisher Technologies, which was his last name. And to make a long story short, he ended up merging with another company or acquired another company and became Grit. During that time, he was saying one of the areas we really need to develop was, having a solid just account management team. And so my background in sales, I have obviously a marketing background as well. But just, having a relationship with clients, somebody who could carry on a relationship, could speak, layman's terms to our clients about, the complexities of technology and make it very simple, for them, and be that advocate for them as well, was what they were looking for. So that's how I came in originally into the company. Since then, we have I've come out of that role. We have now 2 individuals in that role that are taking care of our clients. And we realized as we were moving on and, acquiring new business, that we needed somebody to be on the forefront of the sales side. So I used to do sales for actually a video production company. I used to be a freelance videographer, and so doing that work along with, working retail and in other areas of my past life, it all seemed to fit really well here in a role where I'm able to speak to new potential clients that are coming into the door, being the face of the company, as well as marketing our company, through all different means. We do a lot of grassroots marketing, social media, our email marketing, as well as video, which is a very core piece of our marketing that we're doing. And it's also another reason why we're talking with you guys today too. So as we're on this podcast, we developed a podcast, and we're continuing to put Grit, out there and visible to people in the Michigan area.
Yeah. So talk to me more about what Grit does.
So what we're called is a managed service provider. So managed service provider in layman's terms is basically we're an IT company, third-party IT or outsourced IT for a small to mid-sized business. That's actually our core demographic is 500 employees or less is what we're where we work well in.
Okay.
So basically, how it works with us is, we on the daily, IT, needs for our clients. Instead of having somebody on staff with them, internally, they just have a partner like Grit that works with them. We do, the 24/7 monitoring of all their systems. We make sure that, everything is safe and secure. And, we also, we're also a little bit in the security space too. So we have a whole cybersecurity training program. We're monitoring things like the dark web and any type of, exposed credentials and stuff that are out there. As well as, we have a full help desk and team of people where we provide on-site and also remote support as well. So that's in essence, everything IT that you need for your business. It's all wrapped up into one clean package,
Yeah.
and they work directly with us. And right now we probably, I think right now, last number that checked the numbers, I think we're about 195 businesses that we work with, and of those are 85 that are what we call a full managed client, where we are their IT company.
Okay.
We also do work with companies that do have in-house IT that are probably they're a lot larger. So like having a strong partnership with an MSP, a managed service provider like us, is not uncommon these days, to where they'll work with us just with like project work. So our engineering team's available for larger scale projects, replacing servers, all the cabling, switching, all that stuff that goes into a company's network. We do a lot of the side work as well as being the full IT department for other companies.
Okay. So making sure I heard that right, there's kind of three arms to the company. Then there's that one, the managed IT, I think is what you called it.
Yep.
Two, kind of security, and then three, the technology projects.
Yeah, you can kind of lump that up. That's a great way to say it. Because we do a lot, but I would say, that's like the three core areas that we focus on.
Okay, interesting. So there, like you said, there's a lot of IT companies out there. What differentiates Grit from its competitions?
That's a good question, and I think first and foremost, if you go to our website, we're a lot of IT companies will spout off like, oh, we got this new latest advanced, technology, or their claim to fame of great service and all of that. We put boldly right on our page that we're a business partnership with integrity, and inside of the word integrity is grit as well. So I would say the really defining piece to us is really the people that work here. Including myself into that group. We've got a phenomenal team that there's like-minded individuals. When we come in and we do a project, or there's an issue that needs to be resolved, we rally together, and we get it done. And that really starts at the head of the company with our leadership team. And it really does trickle down. And I think that's a big piece, because there are a lot of IT companies out there. A lot of them are saying kind of the exact same things that we say. But the proof is really in, the performance. We do live in a world now where Google reviews are like king, right? So we're happy that, our web presence is there. People are very satisfied with us. I think one of the things that really differentiates us too is the level of service that we provide for our clients is amazing. We're a unique company where companies like us typically require right out of the gate like a 1 year, a 2 year, a 3 year contract. We essentially like to say we like to date with our clients first. So basically, the first 12 months with us is actually just a pay per month. So people have an out if we decide that either one, we decide that we're not a fit, or they decide we're not a fit for them. And that's something that's very unique. There's a lot of risk with that, but our service is going to be our contract for our clients. So I think there's some of the differentiating factors that we carry.
Yeah. What are some of the biggest challenges that your customers have before they start working with Grit?
It really, there's a whole kind of spectrum of different things. I would say it's really, in my personal opinion, I think it's three things. One is they've are currently with another provider of some type, or they have a IT guy, that's that's helping them, and they're not getting help. They're not getting response. Things aren't being resolved in a timely manner, and they're just done. They know they're losing money because of the ongoing issues that they have.
Mhm.
You know, they're losing clients, and IT and technology, it's the foundation of everything that we do today. So if it's not performing well, you're not performing well. So that's number one. And I would say that's a lot of times the majority of people coming over to Grit is that they're not satisfied with their current provider. They know there's a better way to do things,
Mhm.
and that's kind of where the conversation starts. The second thing would be that they had a breach or like a ransomware attack, a cybersecurity incident where I'm not going to get into the whole thing of ransomware, but where their data was held hostage. Hackers got in, and they were exposed, and it not only cost them time and money. I know it cost them relationships with their current clients, and that's a very scary and embarrassing thing for a business owner to go through.
Yeah.
And we have helped remediate and bring clients into our care through those means. Unfortunately, that's happening more often these days. But so that'd be the second thing, and then the third thing would be like a startup or a company who is starting to grow. I know they've kind of handled things in house, and they had a guy who's very tech savvy. Maybe he's an app developer or something, and he just kind of got designated as the IT person. But he's software. He's developing the custom, the ERP system or the CRM or whatever it is that their business runs off of, and they can't handle the tasks of the general day-to-day tasks of supporting IT. So they're looking to outsource their IT, and that's usually when we'll make an introduction and go through that process. So that's kind of the three areas where I'd say people come into the business.
So in those three areas, are there different trends in size companies that you see kind of working with Grit better, or does it really just run the whole gamut, or industry, vertical?
I'd say the first two, kind of is all over the place. I wouldn't say it's anything larger or smaller. And the third one, where it's like a new company, typically it's a smaller company. Maybe it's started with 5 people, now they're at 10. And they just have so much tech now, and they need somebody to manage it properly. And they know there's a right way to do it, but they just don't know how. And that's obviously why we're here. So I would say in that third one, they're typically smaller companies that are succeeding and growing. So
nice. Okay. So you mentioned before kind of that dating phase that cracks me up. That dating phase of when you're first starting, when you're first, getting to know your new clients. I think it's great. It's so true. Is there kind of an assessment phase too that goes on in here that kind of determines how Grit moves forward?
Yeah, that starts off really in the preliminary sales process. So when somebody contacts us, originally, like from the get-go, somebody calls me up, or we're introduced through a mutual friendship or partnership or something. I typically will sit down with a client, and really get to know them, understand if they value IT, if they are they just looking to fix what they currently have and try to make these last forever, or do they want a proactive plan to support them. That'll kind of that'll help us determine if there's any red flags. We really want people that value IT and understand that it's an investment that they will get a return on investment on, and it's something that's going to propel their business forward. So if I'm having conversations like that in the very beginning, usually that's the type of client that I'll work with. As we get into a relationship and they say, we go through our sales process and we onboard them where they're under our care, then yes, we do an initial assessment with them where, okay, now you're with us. We follow a lot of different industry standards and best practices. There's certain frameworks that we also follow as well on security and cybersecurity. And basically what we do is we basically map it all out for them in a very clean and concise way, so they know like what's in the red, what's in the yellow, and what's in the green of where their company stands based on all of those standards. And the way we operate and the way we work is we're just like a doctor. We'll make our recommendations. And like what you said, we're in the dating phase. If they decide to take those recommendations and follow those recommendations, they're going to see things improve. They're not going to have the disruptions or the headaches that they've had before. If they decide to just want to keep things as is, and if you're watching this, you're probably thinking, well, why would anybody do that? Yes, there are those people that really don't want to change anything. That's fine, and usually in those situations, they'll move on, to some other type of, provider at that point. But the majority of people want that proactive, that basically what we deliver is a roadmap for their IT. And, they want that type of proactive maintenance where a company or a partner is coming to them and saying, hey, this is up for renewal. This needs to be replaced. Here's the latest type of cybersecurity issue that's plaguing all small to mid-sized businesses. And here's how we're going to help protect you. And here's what you need to do. If they're following that and taking those recommendations, then, they're definitely be a long-term client, and it's a lot of people are looking for that. And unfortunately, a lot of companies out there that say they do that, don't do that. And we're obviously one that does. So
yeah. Great insight. So Matt, if you wanted to kind of address one misconception about IT, is there anything that you would want to kind of debunk or anything like that?
That's a good question. I think I think IT folks unfortunately get a bad name or a bad rap, if you will, that, they're just kind of the nerdy folks that aren't really social and tend to hide in the dark. And, we don't have any empathy or concern. I think we've done a really good job of finding people that really have the soft skills, that know how to communicate. And I think the big misconception is that you can't have both. And I've got a team of 35 people here that will prove otherwise, because they do. We're all unique. I'm the outdoors guy, and I'm sitting next to a guy he's a big video game enthusiast. We're a very different group of people, but we all get along and we've got a common goal. So the idea that we're, you can't work with an IT company or an IT personality that if something goes wrong, or you're looking for help or looking for a proactive plan, is not they're just going to be arrogant or rude, or they just don't care, or they're just socially awkward. I'd say that's probably the bigger misconceptions that I've seen out there, and people are very genuinely surprised at just how we get those comments like they're great. Like, it was great talking to them. It was a play, it's like, well, yeah, I mean, it's just how it is. So I think that's one misconception.
Just humanizing IT.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So if people wanted to find Grit Technologies, learn a little bit more, where would they go to learn more?
Well, first and foremost, they can definitely go to our website. That's at grittex.com. So definitely look for Google Grit Technologies, of course. We're located right here in Michigan. 2 locations, one in Detroit and one office in Grand Rapids. So we cover pretty much the majority of the state. We also have a YouTube page as well, where we're continually providing just updated content on, the different types of security that's out there, what type of events that we're hosting, just general information about, best practices for your IT. Those are really 3 ways you can find us.
That's great. So Matt, if you wanted to leave our listeners with one thing, either about Grit Technologies, about IT, or, the industry space in general, what would you want to leave our listeners with?
I would say, I guess I'll put it this way: if there's a small to mid-sized business if you own a small to mid-sized business, and when I say small to mid-size, I'm talking anywhere from just a handful of employees to 500 people. That's the demographic. I would say right now, if you are in that realm and you are having concerns, or you're just kind of curious to see where your company stands, is definitely try to find yourself a very capable team, or a managed service provider. And it's going to look a little different for everybody. But in today's world, if you are working remote, if you run a business and it's running on computers, and you really need to make sure you keep things safe and secure. The amount of breaches and things that we're seeing across the entire industry is pretty amazing. And we, of course, you could work with us, but there's a lot of great companies that we're also partnered with across the United States as well. So if you're listening to this and you're some other state, feel free to give us a call. We could definitely get you connected with somebody else, but it'd be good to really assess where things are now to make sure you have a grasp on that technology so you can avoid a potential breach or something down the line.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Matt, this has been a great conversation. I know I learned a lot about IT, kind of the different space that you're in. And I really appreciate you taking the time to be on Business Ninjas today.
All right. Well, thank you for having me.